Hello, in this video I'm going to be discussing my philosophical breakdown of parsha Beshelach and how it affected the sequencing of my yoga class this week. A transcript of the video can be found in the blog, and the class itself can also be found in the blog, link in the bio. Please remember to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've got any questions or feedback. So, my philosophical breakdown of parsha Beshelach. So the Pharaoh changed his mind about whether or not he should have set the children of Israel free after they'd already departed Egypt. So he's chasing them with his army, and the Israelites are trapped between the army and the sea. And they're praying to God, and they're just told to act. And Moses raises his staff, and the Israelites began walking into the water, and the sea is splitting for them. So the Israelites pass through, and then the water closes and drowns their oppressors, the pursuing Egyptians. The rest of the parsha discusses some of the Israelites' journey, full of rejoice, complaints, miracles, and I'll be discussing that in this week's podcast, which can be, the link for that can be found lower down in the blog. So the main question here is the sea split? This is actually a really strange concept here. And imagine that you're just at the shoreline and you've got people pursuing you. You're trapped between two pretty terrible looking situations. The people prayed, but they were just told to act. The sea didn't open up entirely. And maybe you've seen some illustrations of the Israelites walking between like two walls of water. But that's not really what this looked like. The water didn't begin to open until the Israelites had actually started walking into the water. It was even up to their necks or beyond before they were able to take the next step. So sure, we want to assume that all of the opportunities in our lives will just open up before us and be easy to pursue, but that's just not how it works out. We picture that this macro greatness, this opening of life and opportunities before us, but it can only be achieved through steps of micro greatness. So that's what we're learning about this week, the difference between macro greatness, micro greatness, how they relate. And imagine this, if the water were so wide and so open, it would have left an enormous amount of space behind them, and Pharaoh could possibly catch up with them, recapture them, hurt them, kill them, whatever, any of all that bad stuff. With each step, the water opened up only enough just to take the next step, and then it kind of closed up behind them. When the future looks more daunting than your previous familiar habits, it's not like living in Egypt was impossible for them. It wasn't a life to live. It wasn't a free life. So if the sea was fully open before them and in front of them the water was still closed and more daunting looking, it would have been kind of easy to just turn back and say, you know what, that wasn't so bad. This looks worse. Like, I at least know what life will be like back there. I don't know what it's going to be like over there. So you have the possibility to turn back. And when you leave too much space in your life for bad habits and bad actors, they might just creep up. So a full splitting of the sea is only the greatness that we imagine. But this greatness was made up by smaller acts of greatness, the micro greatness, in some of the most difficult and seemingly impossible conditions. So relating to yoga, when you look at some poses of insanely flexible yogis, you may be looking at that macro greatness, but just know that you can make it there just as they did with commitments to micro greatness. Before you know it, you may be in a full split or handstand, just like the Israelites ended up on the other side of the sea, watching their oppressors drown away. So let's take some action, and why don't you give this week's class a try? So thanks for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Check out the blog, link in the bio. Thanks so much. See you next week.